doing that.
All right. Well, let's start off the recording. I just started it. I'm with Pheneck. How you say it? Pheneck?
Yeah, just Pheneck is good.
Pheneck. He's our new analyst on board. He's just going to give us a brief overview on what he kind of sees in the upcoming weeks to months or higher time frame price action.
All right. I'll get started with the monthly first because that's where I usually go when I'm looking at charts. One of the important things to notice over here is that price has made a nice push up from here. This was the down move which caused the upward thrust. So this area, which we're looking at, I'm gonna mark that in green. That is new support. Like it's not just like a retail kind of a support. It's more like, you know, institutional support level that it has been confirmed, or it will be confirmed when this monthly candle closes.
Yeah.
One of
Can
the
you speak up a little bit? It's hard to hear you.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
okay. Well, I'll try my best.
Yeah. But yeah.
One of the important levels to note on the monthly chart, like for example, is this 58.55 level. That's on BitMEX. And that's where we should also be looking at this order block which is being formed, which is the newfound support region. So why exactly is it forming over here? Like what's so special about it? So if we go into the 3-day chart, I'm gonna forget about this whole price action. I'm just gonna remove it so that we don't know what's happening over here. Okay. So originally when Bitcoin was just like staying above the 58.55 level, it was trading in a range. And I'm gonna mark out the range over here. All right. So these are the range levels which I use. First range level would be the range high at 11,783. And the second range level would be this 0.25 level, which was never tested. And price barely just got till there and dropped. This is the 0.5, which is the equilibrium. And this is 0.75. So these are important range levels to consider. And when I say range levels, these are SR levels or support resistance levels on their own. And quickly, I'm going to mark them out. Range high, range low. And this is the 25% equilibrium. And this is the 75%. So are you clear about how I mark these range levels?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the important things to consider over here is that these range levels are basically support and resistance levels which are formed. When institution or smart money is dealing with price in general, they're only operating on the higher time frame, which is like the 3-day chart or weekly chart or the monthly chart. The range level is much clearer when you see it on the 3-day chart. And as you can see, if you zoom in to, let's say, 75% level or equilibrium level, you're going to see price reacting to it. If we go further down into the daily chart over here. So when price came down to 25% level over here, when it dropped from range high, it came down and started pushing up. When it cleared this level, it tested it for support, and then it started going off. And this is important to mark over here too, because we're heading that way. That's why I'm considering it. Otherwise, I would not be talking about it if we were like trading near 6K.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're headed to 10K level as well, dude.
So this was the support with like, this is the order block, which we should be looking at. Which is formed right at the 25% level. which should have held as support at first time when Bitcoin was trying to push up, but it did not. It just like bashed through it, and it never tested it as resistance before. Like even when we went to 10K, we did not exactly went to like, this broken support to be tested as resistance. So one of the important things to consider is that this is the major supply zone, which is going to be capping this bull rally, in my opinion, when we get there. And there's also another reason for me to believe that this level or this zone is going to hold before we see a large retracement down. Like, first of all, you have this liquidity pool. Like, every person is going to be placing their stop loss or their breakout orders, thinking that, when Bitcoin goes to 10K, it's just going to keep rallying up and up and up. Like, everyone's going to be thinking that. Like, that's a common thinking, that there's a liquidity pool over here too. It barely pierced it and it dropped, went straight to 6K. But this, in my opinion, is one of the reasons for smart money to accumulate, well, try to shift the market down is what I'm saying. Like, smart money is going to be eyeing this swing level over here. They're not too much concerned about this one or this one or this one. And there's a good reason for that too. Because when price dropped from here, price never actually retraced back to fill this inefficiency.
Right.
Like, if you look at this, there is just like explosive down movement. I'm going to mark that with blue so that you can actually have some difference. So when price dropped from here, what fair value means is that smart money or institutional order flow, they would like to fill this inefficiency before they take the market down. But since they did not fill this before they took it down, they only retraced it to like this level. And even when they came all the way up over here, they did not fill this level of inefficiency. So this is what market is aiming for right now. They're not too much concerned about this inefficiency or this inefficiency, but this bigger one, which is quite visible on higher time frame. So in my opinion, when price pierces through 10K level over here, there's going to be a lot of like stop loss orders for shorts sitting over there. Every person who is short in the market would have their stop loss over here. And that's what institutions are eyeing for when they're bullish. Like, they want to hurt them as much as possible before they actually give a retrace. And this would be the maximum pain level for bears. Like, if you smash this level, everyone is going to be like, Bitcoin is going to 20K, Bitcoin is going to 50K. Like, every bulltard in the Twitter is going to come in and say, like, this is the bull rally. And retail money is going to flow into the market based on that. And smart money is basically going to be selling over there. That's when you're going to get a big retrace on the market. Maybe it will keep going up. I could be wrong. Like I am always going to be right about this. But if I'm smart money, or I'm something like I'm working in a bank or at an institutional trader desk, I would want this liquidity. I would want this liquidity to sell into the market. Mainly because there's this inefficiency over here as well, which will be filled. And once it's filled, the marketplace is balanced. Like, you have the up candles for this explosive down candle, and it's balanced now. So the price can actually do anything it would want to do, which would depend on what institutions would tell us to do. So in the near term, I think Bitcoin is actually heading till 9,900. It's stalling over here, which is okay. It's not that bad. But the good thing is that it's trading right above this support level.
Yep.
You can see the beauty of the ranges. Like, when a range is over there, the order blocks are formed right around those range levels. So this was the order block, which has been claimed as support. I'm just going to extend it so that you can see it properly. When price went on a parabolic rally, just look at what it did over here. This is where we are at right now. It did not cross this resistance level in one attempt. It barely just like pierced through it, saw a pullback, and then it went past it. Now it's BitMEX, so since people are using high leverage longs, so this wick, like, just so long, it doesn't actually count as, market breaking down. If you go to Bitfinex or Coinbase, you would actually see the support region holding. So when smart money came in and they pushed the market up above this 75% SR level, this became a support region. And you can see how, even if it wicked here, the body closed above the support level, and the next candle, it tested the support level and it bounced. It bounced really hard. So that's telling you that this SR level has been claimed as support. And now the support level is going to move on to this candle over here. This is the new support level, which the market is going to defend. It's 10, which also is very, very nice that you would actually want to, it gives a very nice RR ratio to trade. Say, for example, if you go into the 4-hour chart, what you can do is, it gets so tight over here that you can basically take your order block to this 4-hour chart and mark it down over here. So what you can do is you can place a long position order over here with stop loss just right over here. It gives a very tight ratio, because if price goes below this level, it's below this support level. So you would be wrong if price actually goes down here. Yeah. But if you're right, it should actually hit the support level and start its next bull wave. And that is actually going to give you a very nice RR ratio to trade with. That's what I'm eyeing at the moment. I actually want price to retrace down and take out this liquidity pool, which is resting over here, fill this inefficiency a little bit, test the support, and start its next bull run. And if you actually take a fib over here,
kind of looks like the 5400 run up.
Pretty much, yeah, you can say that. I'm not taking this large wick down here because it's an anomaly. Most other exchanges don't show that. So I'm taking this swing low, and taking a fib from here, and look at how it collides with the 0.705 fib. 0.705 fib is just a midpoint of 0.618 and 0.79, and 0.705 is used by institutional traders to enter the market, big banks and all that. But I don't think banks trade crypto. But most people who actually work for banks, but they use their personal money, they would be using this fib level to enter the market. So it's a nice confluence for me. I personally would want to take this trade. That effect is there.
Show them how that's a swing low right there on the 17th and also the 12th.
This one?
Yeah, show them how that's a swing low.
It's a swing low, sure, but I don't like the swing low personally.
I'm saying the one that you just showed. Just show them how that is a swing low.
Well, that's very simple. Yeah, you can actually take this fib out. It's a swing low because market, when it came down, it saw a 3 candlestick pattern. When it's going down, this particular candle was the turning point. Since you got 3 candlesticks pattern, which is you have a down candle, you have a middle candle, which is giving you more like a doji. Yeah. That you have an upper wick, you have a down wick, and the next candle is an up thrust candle. That's giving you a turning point over here, so it becomes a swing low because of that.
Can you mark that out on with the little draw tool?
This would be the swing low.
Because a lot of the people in the chat might not know why that is a swing low. They probably can't see it like you see it.
Yeah, it's hard to do that given that it's a BitMEX chart. But if you go to, say, for example, Bitfinex, you see how Bitfinex actually did not break the support level, which BitMEX was actually breaking over. That you have a nice defense in the support region over here, same as Coinbase. And as you can see, there's a nice swing low forming over here too.
Yep.
That over here, I'm gonna show that with This is a swing low. As you can see, price turning quite nicely. That there's a down candle, then there's a doji, and these two up candles make it a swing low. That is telling you that institutional order flow is kicking in. That market is turning from this downward movement to upward movement. So that qualifies as a swing low. And you can take a fib over here too with this. And even the 0.705 kind of comes close to this order block, but BitMEX actually does a good job of like showing us how there's a nice correlation between 0.705 fib and the order block I actually showed, which is the new support over here. One of the other important things I wanted to point out is that Bitcoin is contracting. Contracting in the sense that it's making inside daily candles, which is telling you that an explosive movement is going to happen very, very soon. I'm going to remove this lines over here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's take it down a bit. Here. Let's assume you don't know what price action has done for the past 2 days. You saw a bounce happen from the support, which we had marked earlier. Since we saw that bounce happen, this became a daily swing low. So this becomes the new support, which should hold. That you do not want price to go below this order block now. Okay? Since price has actually pushed up from here, let's see what the next daily candle did. Here, the next daily candle failed to take out previous day's high, and it also failed to actually take out previous day's low. That's what I've done. I marked previous day's high and previous day's low. Okay. So when this daily candle closed, it gave you a lower low, a lower high and a higher low. As you can see, it's contracting, like the range, the daily range, it's becoming smaller. And when you see the next daily candle, it's even smaller. Like this. So why am I marking all this? I'm doing this because market makers or someone who's like a big whale or a big player, he's eyeing these levels on the daily chart. He knows that sell limits and buy limits are residing at these daily highs and daily lows. So people would be placing their stop losses if they are long at this daily low and this daily low and this daily low. And if they are short, their stop losses would be at this daily high and this daily high and this daily high. So if he wants to move the market, he also wants to participate in the market. And if he wants to participate in the market, he wants his orders to be filled. And in order to get his orders filled, he needs the liquidity. And he knows the liquidity resides at these daily lows and these daily highs. So if market is bullish and he wants to enter a long position, he can only do that if he pairs his buy order with other people's sell orders. And where would people want to sell? They would want to sell if price breaks through these lows, so that breakout traders who think the market is going to go down if it makes a lower low, they're going to sell like a market short. So when price actually goes down here, they would be shorting into it thinking that, price is breaking out of the downside. And that's where big players, they would actually be buying their orders. I'm actually going to show you an example on how this plays out in the past, on how it has played out. Even in Bitcoin, it happens quite often, I've noticed. Here, take this for example. This was the previous inside daily range, which we noticed. When Bitcoin made an inside daily candle, look at what price did first. Let's say you don't know what's happening over here. You just notice that price has made an inside daily candle. The next daily candle, what it does is it makes a pierce down, takes out the stop losses of people who are long in the market and also getting shorts on board, thinking that market is going down. But the next daily candle, instead of closing down, it closes above the previous daily candle's low. That's a very, very strong sign that market makers are trapping people to go short. If shorts are trapped, where would it hurt them the most? It's going to hurt them the most if you take the market up to this daily high and this daily high and like just keep shooting it up. Like they're going to puke when the market shoots up. And this is what happens. You just next daily candle, boom, it takes out the stop losses. And as we see, just market just keeps going up from there. But that's one of the key characteristics of when you see an inside daily candle, what Bitcoin is doing right now, that you need to keep an eye on previous daily highs and previous daily lows and observe what the next daily candle is going to do. Like which side of the market is it going to trap? So that, in my opinion, is going to be crucial for Bitcoin's next 2-3 days. I think I'm going to let you take over and give your insights instead.
Can you let's see, can you show them a higher time frame view of kind of, you showed some levels there. Is there any way to like, yeah, 3-day? Did we get rid of all those levels that we were showing?
All right. So this is one of the main levels. And this is one of the main levels. Price initially wanted to go over here, 3K, but it did not, which is quite interesting. And that's another thing to note, is that when price actually came down from here, it was trading within this range. And the reason I'm marking this is because it's so beautiful when you see that.
Yeah.
That the mid-range of the 6K and 3K, it's holding as resistance and support. Here. So when price did like a parabolic drop, where exactly did it test resistance? Right at the equilibrium level of this SR level I drew. This is the range low, range high. This is the EQ. EQ meaning the equilibrium. Okay. So this was the equilibrium. And this is the range high. So for the bearish market, this was the new range Bitcoin developed outside of the range we had seen above. Over here. So as you can see, that price was very, very reactive to these range levels. Like just look at how it was reacting when it dropped. And that even though there was no orders residing here, look at how it's turning to this range level. That there is literally just one explosive movement down, and it should have filled it, but there was still a pause over here, which tells you that the range levels I drew, they were actually accurate. And this became a retest of resistance, and this range level 75% became one of the support levels, or SR levels as you may say it. Even when price went above it, it tested it as support, and then it finally went down, tested as a resistance, broke above it, tested as support, and then just went on a parabolic run move and it cleared the equilibrium level. I don't think it's going to come back into this range. The most it can do is like come down and retest this range high for support.
And that actually conflues with a lot of the EMAs, Bollinger Bands, just basically kind of what I don't think he's watched my video earlier, but so I'll just start taking over from here. But
Okay.
let's see how I share it. By the way, thanks, man. Thanks for showing everything you just showed. Hopefully, it'll help a lot of people understand a lot of your price action tools that you have in your belt.
These are a bit hard to understand unless you know about them, but slowly you get hang of them.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of did a video earlier, but I just want to go on Bitstamp and check out some stuff. So basically, I was watching when we broke down from the 6K area, like you showed in the order block, the huge support here, kind of the ranging area for the 6K, right? So this was acting as huge support before he broke down. And so in my previous video, I suggested that possibly this was a deviation of that support, basically, and of that range that you were talking about. And I've seen a lot of market makers do these in coins in general and lower time frames, but also this higher time frame would also suggest with like the on-chain data that has come out in this Bitcoin network. I don't know if you saw my video on this, but basically here's a 6K level being tested, and Willie Woo came up with this. Basically, he's an on-chain analyst, and it basically tracks Bitcoin investors and every transaction on the blockchain. This graph right here. And so it shows when the momentum starts shifting from a bear market to a bull market, and when the investor flow starts holding their coins instead of releasing them. And so we actually just saw this shift happen at the 6K level when it was testing it. It was in the bear market, and then as we dropped right at the 6K level, we saw the on-chain investor capital flows start moving up as we were dropping from 6K to the 3K area. Then we ranged for about 3 months as the on-chain data showed that they were continually buying and holding. And so back to this chart is that would actually conclude with my thoughts on us bottoming is that the fact that the market makers dropped us down into this demand zone for them, basically allowing a lot of the what do you call them, not strong hands to give up their Bitcoin to the heavy market maker investors, right? And so like you kind of just said, you don't think it's going to come back to this region. I happen to agree with you on many levels of that because of this macro and basically this macro graph here and also that on-chain data. So really what I'm looking at right here is like the bottoming of 2015 and also the bottoming on the RSI of December, I think November 2018. So basically it's coming back into the bullish territory of bullish momentum. And like, if you see here, when we started heading up to this 70 RSI, when we started breaking it, we started really starting to take off, right? And so you actually see in a matter of, 518 days, 300% gains, right? And then that led to us breaking the all-time high and then continuing for a good amount of time in the upper RSI region. So we're approaching those levels. Now, like you said, we're kind of trying to figure out where Bitcoin's going to stop. And I'm not sure we're going to stop right now because of two reasons. A lot of the alts. So I'll, for instance, take, let's say, what's an alt that I've been looking at? Let's just see Poly, right? For example, Poly Bitcoin. No, not Poly, DNT. So, so for instance, I really think a lot of these coins have bottomed out too, because you see they've been actually accumulating for almost 200 days too. And so we haven't seen this pullback into support like we have with actually investor buyback or market makers actually defending the actual price of the support, right? As you see all these other times, it blows through the support, blows through the support. And then as you see price starts compressing over a higher time frame, and then now it's starting to go sideways, breaks, makes a higher high, makes a higher low, and is currently holding on the higher time frames. And so that would conclude DNT is probably going to start making its way up in USD form, which also would suggest that Bitcoin has more room to go as well. And so if you go to DNT BTC on the lower time frames as well, you actually see it accumulating kind of like Bitcoin did at the 6K level, right? And then we had, I would say like more like that. This was kind of like the accumulation range. And then you see it drop down kind of like a deviation. And really, right here, to me, suggests like I've been kind of telling more people about it, my thoughts on it, but make this red. But basically, as you see, we had a spike up already. We're already starting to see a lot of action, and I think this is just the start of us moving up back into reclaiming this as a support, kind of like Bitcoin did, and then moving our way up. And so as you can see, AirSwap did the same thing. It's starting to make its way up as well. And Ethereum really has a lot of room to run. To me, when we're coming up off these levels, right, we just blow straight through those resistance levels, right? But we're actually looking to take those resistance levels out on the way up and then act as support. And so this is a major resistance, previous high liquidity pool, but we're actually resting right on top of it and kind of creating this symmetrical triangle here, right? And so I'm actually thinking we're going to break violently out of it, because as you see prices coiling up here, it's either going to break to the downside or upside. I'm leaning more to the upside. And as you see the 3-day candle, we actually closed above this basically bearish pin bar. It would be a bearish pin bar in a bear market. Usually that bearish pin bar would signal us really far down. But as I'm looking at the market here, I mean, you look at from where we came from all-time highs, we were 94% down, and even sitting where we're at, we're 83% down. And so I think this is just hopefully us. We're going to break through this, head to the $400 area, take out, these previous swing highs, and then take out potentially this liquidity pool to come back down and retest, I would think, potentially this support area that we kind of broke down from.
Ethereum $182 level on higher time frame is very interesting to me.
Which one?
$182 on Ethereum.
182. What time frame?
On daily, if you look at it. If you take a look at 17th November 2018, there was a up candle before the massive sell-off. That was the resistance zone. And if you extend that order block out in time, yes, that one which you were pointing at, yes, this one.
And that's where I was kind of looking at this support here, potentially us back testing it. I don't think we drop anywhere ever back down, please. This was just a fake out to me. Crazy enough, right?
And try inverting this chart. If you press Alt plus I or Option plus I.
What does that do?
You just invert the chart upside down.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, basically. So when you look at this, would you not want to short this market?
You potentially might want to short here, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pattern called Quasimodo. I'm not sure if I have discussed this before. So Quasimodo is literally like, when you have taken the swing lows, which Ethereum has at the moment, price would take a retracement down till the next breakout level, which you have marked at $171. And that would be like the ideal entry to take a long position.
Yeah, definitely agree, man. So we'll see, man. I mean, obviously, you never really want to buy resistance, right? As a trader, we're taught you don't buy resistance. That's not when to get bullish, right? You want to wait for the perfect risk to reward. But as long as we hold above 245, I think we could still continue to go up. And that's just kind of my perspective. And I'm looking for a potential pullback to that, what we said, $181 area. But a lot of times, like for instance, BNB, let's see, BNB never really gave an opportunity to get a nice pullback, right? For instance, if you're waiting to pull back into this area, right? You never really got that pullback that you would want. But see, right in this area, to me, so this area was acting as kind of previous support broken down, and then we kind of pushed into it, broke above it, and then came right into this area, this order block that actually caused the dip down, right? And then we took off from there. So, and then you got some pullbacks here and there. You got pullback into there, but to me, I mean, we're going all-time highs for BNB, and I don't know if that concludes with Bitcoin, man. We're kind of just consolidating right here, and I think we're just going to consolidate and then make a move up. I don't see us pulling back any deeper than we have.
Pull back. The main reason it's consolidating is because market wants to engineer liquidity before the next run up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not healthy to just keep going up in one straight line. because most of the big players would just then, won't get their orders filled, or they can't exactly step into the market. So this consolidation is basically building up liquidity, like I may have mentioned before, how they're building inside daily candles to make swing highs and swing lows, which market makers are going to attack just to get their orders filled, to trap retail traders into shorting or into longing. And once they're done filling their orders, you'll get a nice parabolic move up next time.
Yes.
And it's going to happen soon. Like, it's not going to keep doing this for like more than 2-3 days.
Yeah, the question is whether we take out those stops, come back and retest the support, kind of like we did down in here. We did one, and then we did a number two before we took off. Like, that's why I was saying it kind of looks like this $4,600 area. And also, you kind of got that one touch, double touch, then triple touch. And I'm not sure if we're going to get that, another pullback before.
If they give it to me, I'll take it. I'm not going to waste time longing it.
And that's why, that's where our bias is, guys, is that really we're looking for longs because, and I think me and Pheneck both agree on it, is that, you had 400 days to short Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin only gives you a certain amount of time to short it before time catches up with it and the amount of demand catches up with how valuable this coin is, because ever since its inception, all it has done is run up, right? So basically a massive bull market. So you really don't want to short a bull market, although you can short potentially the bear markets, right? But you only get a limited amount of time. To look for shorts at this point in time, to me, if you're looking for longs, your bias has turned from short to now. All right, now we're starting to long it for the next 1 to 2 years, right? So we're going to try to be taking profits, figure out where we're going to tag some liquidity pools to potentially pull back, but the pullbacks in the bull markets are fast, and if you don't get your orders filled, you don't get your orders filled, and you miss out on like all of this. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, man. I was dwiddling with my little background here with the pink background, kind of like you. So like, I'm trying to find me a good background to play off of. But you got anything else for these guys?
Pardon me?
You got anything else for these guys?
No, I think that sums about right. I can't exactly overload them with info, otherwise they won't exactly follow. I'll give them in like small increments.
So another thing I've noticed is that I've zoomed out on a 3-month chart, and this is a super bullish candlestick pattern. If it can close, if this 3-month candle can just keep going up. And as you see, the monthly, you start getting this smaller expansion, bigger expansion. And this next month is pretty big. And so we're about to close out this month here in 9 days. And I think the next month after this one could continue this big expansion to potentially hit this tight bodied candle right here at the 10K area, which would potentially allow.
It's going to be a major supply zone when it hits that.
Yes.
I mean, on a macro scale, I would think like the next monthly candle would be a pullback candle. After you're seeing 5 months of uptrend, that barely happens in a bull market. Like last time, see when it happened for Bitcoin's history, when you saw like 5 up candles like in monthly chart.
Yeah.
Like, it only happened once, as I can count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's all.
Like, that's the quarterly chart. I was talking about the monthly, but monthly.
But that was after all-time high though. That had no resistance, but.
So it's okay to have like one pullback candle on the monthly. It's not going to be the end of the world.
No.
That's how trading works or price action works.
Yeah, and we want it. We want it to pull back so we can buy more. But that's kind of what I see, man. I see this as a reclaim of support. I see this potentially maybe back testing potentially there. I don't think so. I think we might get a wick down into this area.
And the best I see is a retest of 6K. Like that's the best scenario.
I really don't see it in the charts of the altcoins though. Their USD values, they have to hold that because they've accumulated. Let me just take a one for example, so I just talk about it. So I'm just looking at like just random coin in USD, but I see this. I just see us reclaiming this. And I don't see us going further down. And so I just see us reclaiming, coming back up, testing it, and then moving up for the altcoins.
Right. Yeah.
Like ZRX is just crazy. The support for ZRX. So this was a fallen wedge, kind of the classic accumulation, sideways, like diagonal accumulation that was happening for ZRX. And you see the massive 2017 support. And so I just don't see these coins falling below this. I see them just accumulating this range and then working themselves up for next bull run. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Well, alts are pretty much bottomed out, and I can see that ZRS has already broken the market structure to the bullish side.
Yes.
This was the time to buy. Well, if you haven't bought it by now, then it's kind of getting on board the train before it leaves.
Right. And you see perfect market structure holding here. As you see, this range right here is more of the support, and this was kind of like a deviation. But even so, you break up, you come down, right?
Yeah.
You hold it, just like on a bigger time frame, and then you make a 40% move. Like goodness gracious, if you can't see that's bottom to me, you know, you're kind of like missing out. And so like what you were talking about on those lower time frames is basically the swing lows forming. And I just see these swing lows forming on these higher time frames for 0x. You know, you got a 3-body candle, 1, 2, 3. That swing low with the doji holding, back test, retest, and then creating potential another swing low to the right. As long as we hold here, which would suggest potentially Bitcoin moving up, not moving down. Because if we move down, we would break that. And that's just kind of the confluence I'm kind of seeing with the market in general. And then you also see on the 3-month chart a bullish hammer candle, which you're taught is very bullish signal at support on a 3-month time frame. So to me, that's super bullish, and we could potentially test 90 cents for ZRX in the coming couple of months here. I would say 3 to 9 months. So I know that's super bullish, but I kind of am like a full-time bull right now.
Well, this is the time to be bullish. You can't be a bearish person at the moment, otherwise you'll get wrecked.
Yes, and I think that's what people need to realize if you're watching this video is like you had tons of time to short the market, and now we've switched gears here, and you see this bullish market structure holding for long-term plays, and you even see XRP holding these 2018 parabolic run up, retested it, and just took off. And so you see that the market makers' orders are sitting right there, and you're like, okay, well, this thing ain't gonna break, and I don't think it's gonna break, right? And so XRP to me versus Bitcoin is gonna outperform it in the bull run. I hate to say it, I like Bitcoin better, but I see us. We moved off the 31 cent, $30 cent area. We had some deviation of the support / range here quickly. We moved out of that. And then another little spot right here. And then a little couple of wicks, right? But the majority of the support is in the 30 cent area. And so it accumulated for, let me guess, like 300 days. 155 days right there. But we also, to me, there's a little accumulation spot right here. So we've been accumulating for almost 290 days in this little area. And so this thing ain't going to break. We saw it take off here for 200%. Saw it take off here for 50%. And eventually they accumulated enough to push it all the way up to 45 cents. So to me, the buyback now is at 36 cents right here, marked as this horizontal support. And so we broke above it, came back and retested it right in this area, creating a new support level at the $36 area range, which would suggest if we break up again out of this thing, Bitcoin's going to break up potentially. And moving on to the 55, I would say 55 to, I would say 55 to potentially 60, 70 cent area before we hit this little order block and supply zone right here. So,
yeah, 60 cents should be easy for it to do.
Yeah, man. Glad you agree with me on that, because I've been seeing this stuff and it's not fun just having the information to yourself. It's fun with sharing it with people. So if you wanna take over any altcoin call or any altcoins that you've been looking at or anything real quick over a bigger time frame, you can do that. I just wanted to show them kind of some plays potentially. So we just grabbed that 50% move for the crypto mines group. I would say we're retesting. I'd be accumulating from $36 range, targeting 70 cents for our next kind of level that we're going to kind of take off and then kind of start. Because like for me, when you're working down from the bear market, you're working left to right from previous the run up. Now we're working the previous down moves. We're working up from those, and we're going to start taking those out, acting as supports, and then moving up. So then our next move up would be the 55, 60 cent range, and then kind of bouncing up and down before like taking off to new all-time highs eventually. But that's kind of what I see.
Yeah, that is good. That's my views too.
Well, sweet. Do you want to share anything else, or?
I think I'm gonna do a separate video tomorrow or day after based purely on altcoins, because there's so much to share.
It is, man.
It's like a completely different universe. Bitcoin itself deserves a video of its own, which we did for now. I think we'll leave it for now based on this. Let the people digest the info we have given at the moment. And it's not like we're not going to come with other content. It will come out very soon.
Yeah, man. Um, how excited are you for potentially the next 1 to 2 years?
I'm pretty excited. I should say that we are just beginning the bull wave. Like we are at the bottom at the moment. Like we are at the phase where we can actually ride the whole 217-year bull run before it even started.
Yeah. Dang, someone heard you talking about the bull run.
You know, somebody went crazy. And they're like, bull run, where is it? I want to use it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, I mean, I've been looking at this thing for a while. I'm probably looking at it too much, but I mean, our market cap could just start flying. Like, you were talking about liquidity pools, right? I mean, just look at this one. I got this magnet on. Yeah, that one right there. That's the big one I see right there. That's kind of like the 10 to 14K area. I don't know if you agree with me right there, but there's one right here, but to me, that's a huge one right there. And potentially, see what the monthly looks like. I think all we have to do is get above this bad baby. That's why we're having trouble right here. Is this consolidation right in here? This is acting as that big resistance. Once we get through this, I think we'll come into this 50% of this range right here, like around 313. 313 market cap, potentially range up in these areas. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this for later's notice, kind of like XRPs. Kind of just need to mark this. Would you agree with me on this, or? Am I lost Pheneck? Oh, he muted himself. But yeah, guys. So really, I don't think we get past here anytime soon. That's almost 400K market cap. I think we're going to run into big resistance there. I mean, that's almost half of from 700. So, we're in the 238 area. We need to reclaim this. We need to really start pushing into this area, reclaim this. Otherwise, we have potentially downside, right? And I hate this to come back into this downside, but that's kind of our breakout zone. And then
That's kind of interesting to see. I've never actually charted total market cap of crypto before.
really,
Yeah, I mean,
looks like the Bitcoin capitulation fake out, and then we reclaim it. But like you said, like Ethereum, this right before this breakdown, here's your little small order block, right? That potentially we might retest. So if we're running into this resistance, like I think we are, right here I'll mark it in ink, then potentially we might drop down back to this potentially for a long position for the crypto market cap to our next level. I'd like to get through this pink level though. I don't like being right here.
okay, that sounds good enough to me. But I'll have to look into the total market cap chart. Well, that's interesting to see.
Yeah, man. So I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, this is good for the moment. Like we have covered quite a lot of ground based on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins as well, given by you. I'll have to take a deeper look at some of the major altcoin charts And as I see some setups developing over there, I have a few in mind, which I'm already looking to trade.
Mm-hmm.
I did post the ADA trade,
Yeah.
which I'm looking to take.
Fun.
I have a few in mind with TRX as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right here, what you talked about for Ethereum, this drop down zone, but this is for the total market cap. We could potentially retest this. That'd be about a 16% drop, which is something you see after like a run up like this. Like in a bull market, you see 20% drops. Even from here, a 30% drop is at that consolidation zone. I hate to be bearish or anything like that. I'm still bullish, but expecting a pullback should be given. However, oh, I just saw that. Look at that, dude, on the 3-day. We hit
Pretty great.
your spot perfectly, actually. I didn't see that. And we bounced right up. So that might have been the retest that you were talking about already. If we can just move through this area and hopefully get to this equilibrium of this trading range and then potentially work to the previous range high. But yeah.
It
So
looks pretty sweet to me. But the moment Bitcoin breaks 10K, that's going to be the inflow of retail traders into the market, where media is going to start covering about how the bull run's coming and everyone's going to hype it up and all that.
you really think so, man? Like,
yeah, it was actually quite interesting that you brought it up.
because like,
A year ago, I had downloaded a few of my crypto apps, which were specifically dealing with cryptocurrency news and all that.
yeah,
Those apps went out of order, or they stopped posting anything regarding crypto, or they didn't have much funding to continue when Bitcoin broke 6K support and went to 3K. Like their last post in those applications was when Bitcoin was trading near 3,300. After that, they didn't post anything about crypto. That was like a very good sign that capitulation has taken place.
so I got a question for you. Do you think that like in 2015, I didn't even know about crypto in 2015. I
I
mean,
didn't either.
I didn't know about to this extent, but once we pass this all-time high, you think there's going to be a bunch of news that comes out um, that would attract retail, or do you think they'll kind of keep it low key, and then as we start doing this parabolic run up, right, and getting into these supply zones, then they start coming out with news, and
The
then
thing is, back then in 2015, media did not cover Bitcoin at all, no matter what its size was. Or like I did not hear much about Bitcoin until it was at, $14,000. And that was also through social media and other CNBC news websites and all that.
uh,
So I'm sure there might be, small firms or small news outlets which would be covering Bitcoin, but it did not reach the masses back in 2015. Or else I would have heard about it. Like I actually have a very wide financial circle through my university friends and all that, and nobody mentioned about it back in 2015. But everybody was talking about it when 2017 end was here.
everyone was. So that's what I'm thinking is like, I think mania phase is we're gonna break this all-time high, and then once we get to like 2 to 4 trill, uh, it'll do the same thing. Like we'll start getting into this mania phase. Cause like some of my friends, I don't want to name names, but some of my friends like they're even thinking, don't invest in it, dude. Like it's so volatile, you don't know where it's gonna go. And I'm just looking at the growth of the crypto market cap, the growth of Bitcoin, and it's done in its history is go up over time. And this was the huge right in here. I think this was like the massive, kind of like pulling the rug out from under everyone, and anyone that got in here or there sold everything and we capitulated and everyone was getting out. And now that we're back here, no one's convinced that this thing's going to continue higher. That's why I think that we're going to continue higher, is the fact that everyone thinks it's going to come back down, break it, and don't invest in it. And so it's going to have to get to here and then come in, and then they're still like, it's going to break down, and then we start breaking the all-time high, which is really is 700, but really right here is when, like, I think you start breaking it, retest, and then start taking off to Pluto, man. And I really see in the future potentially like a $4 trillion market cap.
Well, technically speaking, Bitcoin is still in its infancy stage on higher time frame. Like, there's not much price action, historically speaking, to be trading Bitcoin. And what we have done so far between the February drop in 2018 till now is to develop price action for big traders to enter the market, create liquidity. That 6K level, which was defended so many times, market makers were just creating big liquidity so that when 6K breaks, everybody sells, and they're selling into the hands of all the big traders who want to enter the market because they can't. Like, if they buy at 6K, they could have started the new bull run if they wanted to. It's just like, if big money stepped in on 6K. But they definitely don't want to do that because they want to enter at the bottom, not like at the mid-range or at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So that capitulation was necessary for smart money to enter the market.
And the OGs that have been in the crypto sphere for like ever, when they made millions and billions of dollars on this thing, they had to take some profits and they had to buy back. They know where to buy back at. They can see ADA, one of their favorite coins that they got into. I don't know where the best graph for ADA is, but my gosh, ADA looks so good, dude. Just from a basically accumulation, like basically market makers looking at it looks like just a cup where they're catching all the supply that everyone's dumping because they think it's going to zero, and then it comes back up, retest right here, that breakout zone that you talk about.
Now is the time for like a low risk buy on ADA, like a very low risk buy, and you could potentially be making 10 times the money that you can actually make trading Bitcoin.
Yeah, and so we literally, so to me that just looks like a perfect, all the supplies just coming right back into the market maker's hands. He's catching all the dollar bills. He's gonna be making dollar bills, money. Is coming down to that point of just catching it. And there's many types of bottoms. There's rounding bottoms, there's V bottoms, rounding bottoms, accumulation bottoms like we saw in 2015. And so I think this was more of a accumulation, rounding bottom / deviation of support.
Why don't you invert this chart, make it upside down, and see what you can tell from it?
Oh gosh.
You see the head and shoulders, which everyone talks about?
Yeah, dude, the inverted head and shoulders. Oh my gosh, yeah. And the thing is, look at that. It broke it, retested the neckline and is starting to take off. And even now, pushing through this resistance like strongly, you would think we'd get pushed back even more, start going headed down, but we're holding right here, which is interesting. And I think, like you said, we're tightening up before we move that way, which if we invert it.
Yeah. Most people don't want to believe it, that the bottom is in,
Yeah.
but because their fear of being wrong, because it has been bearish for so long, is messing up with their mindset. That trend is actually changing. That's why I try to invert the chart and see if my analysis holds for the opposite direction, like if I would want to short the market or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome, dude. I think a lot of people are gonna like that. You showed them that. And like you said, like right here, everyone's expecting to come back down and break this, right? But where are the people going to get in at? They obviously didn't get in here. If you're not trading it and looking at the support, you didn't get in there. So you're going to have to get in some point. And this starts coming, it starts breaking up violently and starts taking out these liquidity pools, you know, right here. You know, next one's up here. You know, you're gonna like start questioning yourself, and then you reclaim this area as support. Then you're really off to the races, because that's really what we're working here is that area right there, which would conclude with like Bitcoin, would conclude with Ethereum, and total market cap of like this big resistance zone we're running into. But like he said, we invert the chart, and it's a inverse head. There's a head and shoulders, and we're gonna break the neckline here and start heading back to the all-time highs. So, dude, I think we put out some great content tonight, dude. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I did.
It just confirms like what I'm doing. Like I'm constantly trying to look for, you know, good projects to get in on, and just holding the long-term holds, because I don't know if you're holding long term or just trading, but like for instance, if you got in Bitcoin and oh my gosh, Bitcoin. Now maybe you can offer something, a suggestion, but like for me to trade my major holdings for Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or and switch those around and stuff, you know, if you just bought here, you know, and then you're trying to time the market to sell it, right? You try to sell it like maybe here. You tag that liquidity pool right in this area. That liquidity pool we
Yeah,
talked about.
well, that's what I would be targeting, yes.
Yeah. So that, and that's actually lines up with where we're at. What we're targeting up there is, you know, that 10 to 14K area. But
That's 10K for you. That's what I'm telling you. That once it hits 10K, news gonna flow in, buy Bitcoin and all that, and market's gonna take a sharp retrace, which it just saw over here.
and we potentially might be here where we're making that order block.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
because we just ran up, we're making that order block. We potentially might run up and then test it back again, which would be the 3-day order block we're doing now, maybe. Maybe run up to 10K, test that order block back. You see? And it's hard to tell exactly where we're at, right? But we're just trying to do our best for you. Yes. But like for me, like if I buy right here, and then you make 130% on your gains, it's going to be hard to time exactly which liquidity pool it's going to be. But I'm guessing it's like you said, 10 to 12K or something like that. And then you could sell it. You know, you want to sell it a little bit above the liquidity pool, and then potentially wait for a 30 to 40% pullback. But even then, if you don't catch that back, if you don't get your money back in right here, you're missing out on the bull run. So that's why I think maybe it's important to have long-term holds that you're not going to sell because you got in the accumulation stage of the next bull run, and then maybe swing some and try to catch these liquidity pulls and pullbacks, maybe go into USD or something like that. What do you think?
It's hard to say for me at the moment because what you marked as a liquidity pool near around 700 level, I would be taking profits over there if I went long at 300. Like that's at least,
100%.
triple
Yeah.
my initial investment. Why would I?
Yeah. Why would you take that risk of potentially it coming back down, you know?
Yeah, and I can always get in on a retrace or like when it breaks out and retest resistance and support, I can always get in because I know how price action works. But in terms of my initial investment, if I were to make like a long-term investment, it would technically start at 300 and I'll keep my stop loss at near 150, and that basically would be my long-term hold from there. I don't know where it would go from there. Like I know it went till 20K, but if I was just looking at the chart without knowing that it's going to 20K, I would be targeting at least 1200 for the long-term investment. Like I would take half of my investment off at 1100 and maybe remaining 25 at 1.272 fib extension and cut the position off at 1.618 extension.
Do you want to show them that real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Because I think this is really important for anyone that I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but for this next bull run, really important because potentially, you have potential to 30 to 40% from here, even from 8K. And like, are you going to take profits? Like, what are you going to do in those situations? And what happens if you do sell out and then you don't catch the retrace and then we just go start going parabolic to 20K, past 20K? And you know what I'm saying? So a lot of different options, a lot of things happening, but I'm going to stop this share real quick so Pheneck can take over.
Okay, let's see where it is.
Are you in ICT's program?
Not at the moment, no. Why?
I was one.
Well, I did learn from him most of it. I would not deny that I have watched through his videos and I think he's a great mentor. But he's a bit frisky too and doesn't suit well with my character. Okay, so, well, this is BitMEX. I don't think it gives the... Alright, let's go to... Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I see it. Looks good.
Alright. So here we were. Let's go on the 3-day chart. Okay, here's our Bitcoin chart.
Yeah, like our price action is completely different than 2015. I know a lot of people were expecting this, year-long consolidation, like exactly like 2015 with the double, triple bottom type thing. But I would say we've been accumulating ever since the breakdown of 6K, based on the on-chain data that I showed you.
So this was the range.
Look at that perfect retest,
I think it takes a lot of experience to build some skills on how to define a range or how to utilize it. So I'm just going to do for people watching over here. Mhm. So this was the range price was trading in before it did a breakout. As you can see, this was the retest for resistance before it broke down, and eventually when it broke up, like you can, I'm actually gonna point it out using my cursor. Okay. See, this was resistance, resistance, again resistance over here, and again some resistance. So when it broke out, it did not hold it. We should have seen it hold, but needless to say that once this level was broken out, that was a signal for a bull run over here. It stalled a bit. I don't think it's visible on the daily time frame. If you go into 4-hour chart, you could see the stalling. And eventually when it broke up from here, that should have been like a market buy with a stop loss over here. So because I knew that resistance was trading over here. And when you had a close above this level, when you saw a daily close above this level, which is the range high, you should have a market buy right over here, or sorry, a limit order sitting right over here at range high. And the stop loss would technically go below this level because this becomes the breaker. Breaker means that this order block was initially used to sell, price down, take out the stop loss. It should have held as resistance, but you see it just like powering through it like a powerful thrust without even stopping. So anyone who went short over here is now underwater. And when price comes down over here, it should hold as support and it should take off. So stop loss goes like at least 275. That should be like my initial investment if I wanted to go in. Entry over here at range high, which should have hit at 300, and stop loss at about 270 or 275. And after that, that's the bull run. Like it just took off from there. And even when I was entering over here, my initial target would be this level. Well, it actually took out, so no, that would not be my target because it has already taken out the target. But you can see that this level was holding as resistance for so long, and it's a very nice pattern too, which is an ascending wedge, oh sorry, ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern. It's banging into resistance, making higher lows, and it just like breaks out from there. So I would be targeting this liquidity pool, like these swing highs. Those would be my targets.
Do what?
Over here.
Yeah, it did. See, it goes a little bit above it and then comes back.
Yeah, like I would be placing my sell orders over here, sell it over here, and probably buy on the pullback. Initially, I would have thought that when it's pulling back, it should have tested this region as support. It did not. It just went down here. It didn't even like take out this swing low. That's how bullish it was. But the moment it traded above this order block, that should have been my entry into the market again. And I tested it. It tested it as support over here. This should have been like my entry, stop loss underneath it, then get in sync with the market.
Oh, wait. Go back. All right. So, see that candle that retested the orange zone?
This candle?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a 3-day candle we're on right now, actually. Really weird.
Yeah, sure. You can say this is our 3-day candle at the moment. What it's doing is like it's still again like I'm telling you that since it's been like a parabolic move we have seen in the past 2 weeks or a month, that price needs some kind of a cool down phase for people to reaccumulate, smart money to reaccumulate their positions, compound, and then ride the trend again. So what they're doing over here is like, they're building orders at this high over here and this low over here. Because it's a 3-day chart, it looks like a 5-minute chart to you, but it's a 3-day chart. So what they're doing is like, they're printing this candle because they want retail traders to put their stop losses over here.
Yeah.
So that they can run it, get their longs filled, and then boost it up. Once it's boosted up, this becomes support.
Hey, can you see the screen? I think I screwed something up.
Pardon me?
Hold on. Are we still screen sharing?
I think I am from my side.
I was trying to simultaneously share screens.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that happens because once you were sharing, it wasn't allowing me to share my screen.
All right. Well, I can't see anything, so.
You can see it or no?
Oh. Share. It says multiple participants can share simultaneously. I'm gonna hit share and see if you can see what I see. Can you see my screen?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna continue over here.
I think I found where we're at in the current where we are. Like right there, that down move candle, that big one. Yeah, that one. Potentially might be because we just took out the stops in that area above that, and we just took out the stops at the 6K, 6,500, 7,400 area, and then we just retested it in a wick, and now we're like compressing like we are right there, and so we potentially might just have another move up.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this candle, which I'm pointing out, this support candle, is if I go to, our current chart right now, daily time frame, it's this candle. That's about it. This candle at the current moment is what we noticed on the 3-day chart over here. Like this up thrust, retest, take off.
Yeah. And look at that parabolic move from 700 to how much percentage gain is that from right there?
700 to what?
The top of the all-time high.
All-time high is gonna be a lot.
I meant just right there. I meant just right there, the previous all-time high. 63%. All right, now scroll out a little bit to see. So no, stay there and just keep going to the left a little bit. Drag it to the left because I want to see. So what happened? Where was all the resistance? It just seemed like there wasn't a ton of resistance coming up. We tagged that liquidity pool, came back, retested, and then went parabolic to around 900 to 1,000. And then, yeah. And then what was that drop right there from the 63% all the way back down to like 800? Yeah, that drop right there. So we made the move up and then the drop down to retest. That's a big drop.
This one
Tag the liquidity there too. The next one tagged the liquidity. So as we're getting to the top, it literally makes these tag the liquidity and then basically retraces the whole amount where you made your entry. So let's say you entered at 700. We broke out of that at 750. We broke out at 750 right there, started making our way up 800, and then we tagged at 1100. You literally retraced the whole move.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
That price action works. Like you have to consider retracements as a part of a healthy movement up. Like
That's what,
it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back.
that's what I'm saying. If we tag these liquidity pools at like 10, 12K, as we're getting closer to the top of 20K, and dude, I'm starting to think like we could potentially do this. So like as we get 12K and then tag the liquidity, and maybe make our way up to 13,000, we're going to make sharp move back down, like 30% moves down, and then have an opportunity to buy it. But it's gonna be drastic 30% moves. Then we're going to tag the next liquidity and then make another drastic 30% move. What was the move coming down right there from 1100 to 750 right there where you're at? Yeah, that drastic move right there. And then on the 17th, or yeah, 34% move. And then what was the one from 1280 to the next one, big next one right there? Yeah. Yeah, another 31. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen, dude. Is as we're getting closer to the top, we're gonna drastically retrace.
You know what? I
Yeah,
haven't looked at 2015's price action in that much detail until now.
yeah,
Looking at it now, it makes it so simple. Like, this is my bread and butter, what I trade. There's a bullish order block, there's a liquidity pool resting, drop into the liquidity pool, make an SFP, take a long position, ride the trend. I mean,
yeah. So that's on the daily. So we need to look for this on our chart currently, is where, because we see the liquidity pool. We just tagged one at 6,500 and broke it to 8K. We already retested it in that 3-day candle you talked about. It was a 30% move. It was about from 8,300 to 6,300. It was 25% on Bitstamp. So as we get higher up here, we need to look for that 30% retrace to where we can potentially get back in to ride the trend.
yeah, sure. Oh.
Because I'm seeing some similarities here with the liquidity pools, where potentially we're going to be tagging them as we make our way to new all-time highs. And the thing is, I see as we get closer, I'm on the weekly for this thing, as we get closer to the all-time highs, the volatility increases. As the just the volatility increases as you separate the levels, and then the drawbacks intense. And a lot of people are going to get shaken out. They're going to think we're going to crash back down to like 6K or something. But if we keep moving up,
I don't think it's gonna happen that soon until, if you look at the inverted chart, if I would be shorting this market, let's say I'm gonna take like a naked chart, okay? If I'm shorting this market from here, my target is here, 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 and here. Oh, come on. So these would be my target levels from shorting it. And I know they're gonna be hit. Why? Because anyone who tried to long, like say, let's say you're just looking at the chart as a normal chart, and you're trying to, long the breakout. Okay, you went long over here. Where are your stop losses going to be? When you do enter a long position here, it's going to be here, 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 and here, right? And that's what market makers are going to seek if they want to hurt you. And they have already hurt someone over here. They are going for hurting people over here. maximum pain is going to happen when it reaches here and here. That's where you're going to see like a crazy wick and getting like snapped back up.
I see us, we could potentially go to 13, 14K as we tag that last liquidity pool and then make a 30% drawback.
Yeah. Well, I'm just giving you a heads up that my computer is gonna crash out soon.
Okay.
I need to hang up over here.
All right, bro. So that's it, guys. We try to go into depth. I think as we progress in this price action journey of going between these levels and making our way to new all-time highs, I think that's where the market makers want to take this thing as we got enough fuel to get going here. We're gonna tag, like Phoenix said, these liquidity pools that we just tagged some at 6,500, 7,300. About to tag one at 8,300 and 10K, and then potentially a 12K to get a potential snapback of 30%, which would take us back to around the 8K area, which is the 35% drop. But as we look on the 3-day chart, we're creating an order block / range that we can come back and rest upon. So going up to 12K and coming back down to 8K is not that unlikely, as we just saw it in 2015. And then as we make our way up to the next level, we'll have to reassess there. But Pheneck, dude, really glad to have you on board, man. I know we super went crazy into some minutes here, but I really appreciate everything, man.
No worries. I'll do another session with you soon.
All right, buddy.
I'm gonna pass it over to you.
All right, man. Get some rest, okay?
That.
All right, guys, I'm just going to screen share real quick. So just to recap, guys. So 2015 levels are down there. We just did that with Pheneck. So we just tagged this liquidity pool here. Where we're going to be eyeing. We're going to be eyeing this 10K level. We're going to be eyeing this 10K level. We're going to be eyeing the 12K level. Those are where the liquidity pool is going to stop and rest. That's a lot. All right. So here's the liquidity pools, guys. No, we've gone into some detail here. Detail's a good thing when you're going on to a massive bull run. So I think from the looks of it, we're going to tag this, and we're going to tag this, potentially running us up to a target of, let's just go ahead and say 2,500. Let's get it, dude. Let's get it. So potentially 50% move to our target. And then a potential down move of a 30%. I wish I copied that somehow. So So then we're probably going to retrace back to this level, which would be about a 30% drop. All right, guys, I think that's going to conclude it for today. Please subscribe if you want to subscribe to our channel. We'll be producing more content in the future. Pheneck was our new analyst on board, and also I do majority of the technical analysis within the group. It's a free Telegram channel. If you guys want to join, just shoot us in the comment section below. So basically, we're moving up between levels here in Bitcoin, targeting the 20K high, eventually going to retrace 30% moves as we get into these higher time frame liquidity pools and more volatility incoming, and then potentially heading to the new all-time high, which we have no idea as yet. So just to put into a little perspective, thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Thanks again, man. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.